Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Clue Crew podcast. Woo! Um, so we are here talking about the last Clue Crew playthrough game, which was everybody's favorite, Ransom of the Seven Ships.
Woo!
My name's Katie. Clearly, you can hear we are here with Allison.
Hey.
And we are also here with Maddy.
Hello.
And we'd like to give a warm welcome back to Amy.
Hello. Good to be back.
Yes, it's great to have you back. Hotchkiss and Tell, she was here for our Shadow at the Water's Edge week, if you listened or recall that at all. So that's very cool. We're very glad to have you back.
Thank you.
So, Ransom of the Seven Ships.
What a game.
What a game. In this game's defense, as I was playing it today, it actually, I know, right? It actually has a decent amount of actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always the best gameplay, but it's gameplay. And some of it is fun. There are actually some things that I enjoy, but yeah. How do you guys feel?
I think, as I've been thinking a lot, because I enjoyed it the first time I played it a lot. And I feel like I wonder if part of the problem is it's not a great replay game value, because like a lot of the complaints are, talking about how there's only one suspect, but like a couple other people pointed out, when I played it the first time, I really was convinced that there were other people on this island and that I needed to figure out what was happening. And all the little details that were scattered around where it seemed like people had information about Nancy's life really creeped me out. And I really felt like I was being watched. And so I was super on edge. But whenever you play it back, like, you know what's happening. So none of that really affects you. It's not the same as the Ethel jump scares. And I don't know, so I feel like it's just it makes it a lot harder to enjoy, and then you just kind of get, I think, you're a little more hypercritical of it any other time around.
I get that. Yeah, because
I totally agree.
Yeah, sorry. I would just quickly, I was going to say that the one suspect thing does seem a lot more suspicious and more obvious in hindsight than it does the first time you play.
It's funny because the first time I played it, I remember being so curious as to where they were going with it. I thought there was going to be like more surprise, like suspects. And so when there weren't, I was very confused because, like, obviously there's nobody else. I mean, you didn't know he was Dwayne Powers, but
I gotta give a shout out to that person and their tags on that post about like.
Yes.
You know the one. Yeah, you know the one where they were like, if you can honestly say that you expected Dwayne Powers to be the culprit the first time you play, and that would be a bold fucking claim. Oh,
you know what? Funny. What's so funny is I remember the first time that I played the game, I played it with my mom, and at the end when the culprit came out, I was just stunned, and I think my mom had forgotten who Dwayne Powers was, and so I had to explain it to her, and I was just super confused. Mom was like, "Did you expect it to be Dwayne Powers?" And I just looked at her baffled, like, "Mom, how would I know it was going to be Dwayne Powers?
Why would I think it was Dwayne Powers?
Exactly. Why would I think that?" Oh man.
Oh.
There was absolutely nothing to tip us off about that. Like,
yeah,
not even like a business card or like literally a phrase nothing that the guy said, like, "Hey, like that was something the guy has no talent" or something. Like any of the key phrases we remember Dwayne saying just never are there.
Yeah, it was just like literally out of nowhere. And all of those accents though.
I know.
He's so like, bad. I'm such a great actor. I'm like, well, hopefully you're not planning to use accents. Oh my god.
Needs a dialect coach for sure.
And, yeah, okay. I feel like he skipped right over what he thought was Jamaican and went to bad British pirate.
You know, I was also thinking that his Australian sounded a lot like somebody trying to do British, but
Well, so here's my thing though too. I'm kind of
wrong.
convinced that for his first accent that he was pretending he was trying to do an accent that was of an Australian guy attempting to do a Jamaican accent. like I'm sure he's like, okay, so this is who I am, but I'm pretending to be someone else. How could somebody who is Australian but is pretending to be Jamaican, how would they sound?
Maddy, dear God, you and your hot takes.
Here's the thing, like,
I love it. I love it.
Backstory is so extra. Listen, right before this podcast, I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a flowchart of how I think everything has happened prior to getting to this point. But like, yeah, that one I'm just like, I can't get over just like there's nothing even to talk about when it comes to his entire like character that he has developed for this, because it's the most extra inane thing. Like,
I love it.
Anytime I see anything that is Dwayne Powers related, my brain just goes Maddy.
Yeah, no, when I saw
love
that,
it.
Who was it that's reblogging, who said they would make, like, podcasts, playlists, and I was like, I really just want to be like, listen, I kind of say as a joke, but could you please make one for Dwayne Powers? What would that even sound like?
That would be amazing. Give him the old razzle dazzle. And okay, I don't want to be controversial here, but this version of Dwayne Powers being voiced by the same guy who voices Frank is precisely why Jonah Von Spreeken is #NotMyFrank. Along with the fact that he voiced Shorty and Andy Jason and like everybody in Blackmore Manor. He did both Andy Jason and Shorty. And yeah, he was like Tommy Tucker, Hugh Penmelin, like he did all the voices ever. And I'm just, as soon as they recast Frank as him, I was like, the guy is amazing. He's so talented. I mean, his Jamaican accent needs some work, but like no, the guy is great. Do not get me wrong. I love him and his work, but he's just not my Frank because I've heard his voice so many times throughout the series.
That's so funny.
I don't know. My favorite Frank voice is always going to be the absurdly deep one from Blue Moon Canyon.
Oh, yes.
Like you'll notice if you guys read anything that I write that has Frank in it, I will always describe him as having a deep voice because that's literally what I think of. It's like the Shadow Ranch to Blue Moon Canyon Frank. Okay, I don't know how we got on the topic of Frank. I don't know why I did this, but bonus Frank discussion.
This podcast is basically just the Hardy Boy discussion crew.
I mean, how can you not? How can you not talk about the Hardys when they're right there?
I know.
Your nose. Even if they aren't in the game. But yeah, so what was your least favorite monkey game?
Oh my gosh, the spinny one.
Yes,
thank
you.
You have to wait your turn 3 times, and it's so random. No strategy.
No strategy. It is completely up to fate. God, it makes me so mad.
What makes me most angry is I'm convinced that for Senior Detective, they have it set so that the probability is substantially lower for you to be able to win. And I'm like, no one is playing this so that they lose to a monkey more frequently. Like,
exactly.
This is not why I chose Senior Detective. I don't want to be in this.
I know. That was my problem.
I only played that game, the monkey game, 3 times on Senior Detective, and I only lost once. So
I wish I could say the same.
I won on Senior.
I didn't. I kept getting laughed at pretty much every monkey game, and they all pointed at me, and I couldn't click away fast enough to avoid getting laughed at, and I was like, I can't take this anymore.
I know. And
I like the coconut one.
The coconut one is the only one that I like.
Yeah, it's fast, and if you lose, like, it's not very, like, I don't know, it's over quickly.
Yes, and it doesn't
And you have
bruise
so
your
many
ego as
options for
much.
how to score points, and each round is timed, and you have a limited number of shots, so it just feels more like a game, like an arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yeah,
the coconut
I
one
agree.
makes me angry because the monkey gets infinite coconuts and the time limit. I have to wait for my 8 coconuts.
I
to
didn't
use
even think
properly.
about that. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes, they can just throw as many as they want because I was also beaten quite a many times by the monkey throwing coconut.
Well, the strat for that game though is you don't aim for anything that's not a fruit or a crab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Star settle on if there's nothing.
Right, like if there's a long stretch where there's not a crab or a fruit, then you revert to the stars.
Mm-hmm.
No lizards, no shells.
The lizards and shells are just a waste.
Yeah.
I do like the color block one, but it just takes a long time.
I'm embarrassingly bad at that one. I used to be better at it when I was younger, but I don't know why. Like, I only won that thing like once. It was so bad.
I feel like all of the monkey games are super annoying for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's
yeah.
Yes, all of them. It's just kind of like which is the lesser evil.
Yep.
If you need a loquat.
Right. Gotta get a pulley, gotta get a color dial, gotta get the compass. Like, there's so many times that you have to do it.
You have to go times. Like, even if we could just like use the metal detector, something like on Shark Cove to like find his compass or something instead of having to play another monkey game.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I take digging over the monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of enjoy the metal detector thing at Shark Cove. I don't know why. Like, it's not exciting.
I don't know, it's kind of soothing, almost. Although I will say, I clearly was really directionally challenged in this game because, especially when you're looking for the treasure chest, I could never find it again if I resurfaced to go get more air. And then I'd be like, I don't know where I was originally. I also got really lost just golf carting around the island all the time. I did
Yeah, me
loops.
too.
Oh my gosh, the driving in this game is terrible. The pace, and then you think you know a shortcut and can off-road it, but the speed at which you're off-roading just almost isn't worth the shortcut.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
The only shortcut that no, that's not true. There are 2 shortcuts I use. I use the one that's right there by the blue hole because for the love of God, I can never find the actual path to get to the blue hole. I don't know why.
Yeah, I have no idea where the paths for anything are. I just circled the island until, like, eventually I would, like, I think I probably at one point spent 15 minutes trying to find the path to get to the Bat Cave because I forgot it wasn't, like, an official road. And so I kept just driving past it and being like, where's the entrance to this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
See, I know roughly where all of the landmarks are on the map, so usually I'm able to just kind of go in the direction that I know it's in, and I'll eventually stumble into it. But I don't know why the blue hole, I can never, ever, ever, ever find it. But so there's like a little mud path that connects one of the main roads to the blue hole's entrance, so I always take that one. And then God bless the little shortcut going to the monkey center.
The monkeys.
Oh my God. I would never, ever, ever want to play this game ever if that did not exist.
It's already you don't want to be going to the monkeys anyway, and then to make you take that long drive.
I know.
Oh.
Terrible. Terrible.
And I don't understand why, like, there wasn't at least one scene where George would ride along in the golf cart to get the second golf cart back from Songbird Beach.
Oh, wow. That's
They
true.
just leave Bess's golf cart there and make
I
George
also-
run all the way to the cliffs.
Yes. That would have made a lot more sense, actually, and that would have explained that plot hole. Like, the fact that the dude is literally like, you're not going to get around anywhere on foot on that island, and then George just runs all the way to the cave, which is on the dead exact opposite side of the island. It's like the farthest landmark from the resort.
And then she has
Is
to
that
climb
funny?
up the rocks and avoiding the projectiles.
The climbing up the rocks is just so funny to me. Like, that upper body strength that you all must have.
To say
Yeah, and be
nothing. of-
pelted.
Yes, and to say nothing of the little animation of them like wiggling.
Oh yeah, like their little spider crawl.
Yes.
Madly flailing their arms and legs.
Oh.
So perfect.
I forgot who made this post, but I love that someone pointed out over the Clue Crew playthrough that in Danger and Deception Island, Nancy will literally die if you forget your helmet or your life vest. But in this game, yeah, free climb a freaking cliff with like boulders being pelted at you. No big deal.
Yeah, right. Boulders.
No helmet, no harnesses, nothing.
I will say I use the rocks on my way down. And like I'll position myself and I'll be like, knock me down, make it go faster.
Please, I know. It's always the best feeling. It's like you kind of, there's almost a pattern to it where like if you know a rock hasn't been in this one section of your screen, you just kind of aim yourself right there, hoping that one will fall down. I don't know. It's so nice. I always do that.
I will say I wish there were more games with tropical settings like this one, because the setting is probably my favorite thing about this game.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the setting a lot in this game, and playing it again this week, I forgot how much I really enjoyed like the pirate backstory.
Yes.
It was really cool, and I thought it was really good setting. The music, everything, really nice.
Yeah, I really like the music too, which sometimes I can get like, if it's on loop a lot of the times, it can kind of bother me for a while, but this one was just really fun and like kind of happy with everything, and I really enjoyed it while I was playing through. It was a cool vibe.
I am in love with that super like Pirates of the Caribbean style song. Like y'all know the one.
Yeah.
It's so good. I absolutely adore it. And you know, you're right, Allison. I was actually thinking about the El Toro backstory on this last playthrough. I was actually impressed at how well it is actually fleshed out. Like if you just read the journal and the book, and you find like it's so cool. It's just it was executed with a bunch of nonsensical puzzles, and that's what makes it kind of sad. But the actual concept,
impossible.
Right. Exactly.
For
but like
450 years ago.
Yeah, like a mechanical rock wall in a cave.
Yeah, at the back of a flooded cave where you need a tank of air to get to as Nancy. It would have been just like something where like mentioning that the caves had flooded over the past century or something.
Yeah.
Would have helped.
That's the thing. There's like a lot of situations in Nancy Drew games where her interactive could easily like explain it in a historically accurate way, but they just choose not to.
Kind
of
like
weird.
Why Spanish sailors know about game Sudoku or anything. But they're not going to use numbers. No, we're going to use colors.
I know.
And make it 50 times harder for people who play Sudoku for fun.
It really is a lot harder with colors.
We'll say it was more visually interesting, exciting from that end. A little different.
Like when I first 2009, oh my gosh, I didn't think to assign numbers to the colors, which would have made it so much easier.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never thought about that.
I actually made a piece of paper and drew out the chart and then colored in the squares that didn't change, and then made moving tiny squares. Like I just cut out individual squares and played with it like I was actually there with Nancy doing the moving parts to do the puzzle. Like I actually made 80 of pieces of paper for my. That's in real life because I didn't want to keep going back for more air.
I just took a screenshot and put it on Microsoft Paint, and then I like copied the like graphic of the color and then would drag them like that. Like that's how I did it this time.
That's pretty much what I did. Yeah.
Well, now you could probably do that, but like 11 years
in 2009, right?
Yeah.
True.
That's how I think about that one where it's the puzzle. I think is it in The Haunting of Light where it's the turning puzzle with the squares.
You know the otter box?
Oh, the otter box?
The otter, yes.
Oh God.
It's
not Castle Malloy week yet, but I'm gonna rip into that puzzle when it is.
I had had like all of those sticky notes, assorted colors with like weird codes, like all over my computer screen. Every time I moved it, I would have to move every single one of my sticky notes to correspond with like the new version that I was trying. It was so bad. I spent so long on that thing.
Oh god, yeah. That's the worst.
Speaking of painful, long puzzles, the GPS using the chart that's like not marked with any calculations. Right. You just have to count like, okay, is it by 2? Is it by 5? And it's by 3.
Oh, yeah,
like the most random spaced number. And
so
I think I only ever solved that for real the first time I played it, and ever since then I've just used a walkthrough for that one.
Yeah, I think that was
you guys. I used a lot of walkthroughs.
Me too. It's been a long time since I played this game, and like I said, I was playing it today. Like I knew I had to get it finished, so I was just kind of rushing through the latter half of the game, and I was just like, I don't have time. I don't have time to mess with this. I actually got the hourglasses by myself though. I didn't.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks. I was very proud. Takes a lot of second chances, but no, I think I ended up using like 3 second chances. I don't know why you actually get a second chance for that. Like I understand they were probably doing the whole like, oh, they set booby traps so that the wrong person couldn't get the treasure, but how are you supposed to get that puzzle solved then without needing a second chance? I feel like second chances should be optional.
Like you deliberately do something stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in Treasure in the Royal Tower, you jump across the elevator shaft.
Right, that makes sense.
Or you leave the iron on in Haunted Carousel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
No, that's a good one.
So sneaky. I love it. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Maddie.
Yeah, the hourglasses.
Interrupted you.
I've never found those to be as problematic as a lot of people talk about, and I also like did it without a walkthrough this time. It took me like 2 second chances, but it's like, okay, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and the next one, and then 1 Mississippi.
I'm not detail oriented enough for that. I always just go by like I wing it. I estimate, But yeah, thankfully I actually got it right. Like once you determine the order that they need to go in, you can very easily
the same letter.
Estimate
like,
the time.
Calidad and Castrodad. You couldn't think of just one different letter for the hourglass. So
are the names of the ships
going
based
by
off
the
of
clue
real
in the
works?
book, and there's a C and then another C, like which one comes first?
Are the names of the ships based on real history?
I don't know. I didn't look up like what Castidad means.
Because if the names are based off of the actual ships, then that would be cool. But I don't actually
was
know
it
that
a
for
historical game? I just thought they just made this up like One-Eyed Willie in Goonies.
I mean, I know El Toro existed, right? No?
I'm gonna look it up now because I
don't know.
I'm
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe not. I don't know. I really have no clue. They might have made it up.
Just like, Dirk Valentine, he felt like such a real figure.
Right.
But that was totally made up.
I made a post. I made a post a long time ago for that game, and I still stand by it to this day. That Dirk Valentine had sandy blonde hair, and he did not have a beard. That's just the truth. Sorry.
I can stand by that.
I see like aesthetics a lot, and they'll just have like an old like dark gruff bearded dude to stand in for Dirk, and that's fine, you do you, that's cool, but I can't make that connection in my head. I'm just like, that's not how I picture
I always
Dirk.
just saw him as like a more long-haired version of Dave, actually. Like that's who I put in that facial assignment for Dirk Valentine.
Dave. I love it. He's like the spiritual predecessor of Dirk Valentine.
His great grandson.
Who shares his face.
Well, he is a descendant of Francis's cousin Ellie. Because that's why he has Francis's ring. So
maybe that's the true reason Francis ran away. She didn't want anybody to find out about her and Dirk's child.
Yes.
Anyway, you were sitting here chatting about Shadow Ranch.
I
How
can't
much-
believe that's the last one, but I guess we're just like saving the best for last in the playthrough.
There are a lot of pretty
No.
strong
So
games
far
towards the
away.
end.
We're
Dying.
getting the other ones out of the way. I feel like we've had some of the more, I don't know, not like worse, but less favorite ones lately.
You can say
Yes,
worse.
right? It's like one lackluster one after another. With like Secrets Can Kill, and now Tomb of the Lost Queen.
Tomb of the Last Queen is
Yeah,
my
that's how I feel
absolute
when.
least favorite game.
I have like mixed feelings about Tomb of the Lost Queen. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean we'll talk about
We
it
can
next
talk
week.
all about it next week.
Yeah.
Yep. We've already diverted to Frank Hardy. We've diverted to
I
Shadow
know.
Ranch.
Hey, you guys had like a really long tangent on the CW about on your crew.
Oh yeah, I know. What can you really expect?
Was it even Cree Week or was it just a CW?
It was Cree Week.
You're right.
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
No, you're good.
One thing that somebody pointed out a while ago about Ransom of the Seven Ships, though, is how the monkeys are the ones throwing rocks at you or whatever when you're climbing up that steep. But then when you get the monkeys to leave, the rocks are still climbing, or the rocks are still falling.
Oh my god, you're right.
It was just that they were crumbling. Like, I never thought that the monkeys were chucking them at you.
I thought they were supposed to be though.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought they were.
I don't know if it's ever said that anywhere.
Maybe not.
Oh.
Perhaps not.
And like so many of these animal obstacles are silly when you consider that you are playing as a human who can just walk past these monkeys, who can just
Literally.
take Cuckoo's perch from her, and
That one
like, look,
is
you have a
especially
little
like,
swing back there. Just I'm gonna use this just for a minute. Bring it right back. I don't have to go all over the island to get you a new branch. Okay.
Not only that, like, especially, it's like, Nancy, your friend is kidnapped. Like, you can take the perch from the bird in this
Yeah, it's a
particular
bird.
instance.
Literally, it's a
Friggin'
bird. What's
bird.
the bird gonna do to you?
Peck out
Gonna
your
fight
eyes.
you?
I did read a very interesting post though about how irresponsible the Gibsons were about Cuckoo though.
I
Just-
posted
That was you, Amy,
Oh,
right?
that was you. That was you. Perfect.
just because I have neighbors who run a parrot rescue, and they talk about just how much care has to go into like exotic birds,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what's up with that?
and you cannot just leave one alone like the Gibsons did unattended.
I'm not gonna
Oh.
lie, I forgot the Gibsons were real people. Like,
I know,
was
right?
convinced that Dwayne had just set up this whole resort location.
Yeah.
And, like, I was like, I could kind of also
He would
see
be
him
that determined though. Like I've bought my own private island, and
Yes.
I've registered as an ecotourism resort.
Okay. So on that, like, a little extra, while I was thinking about this, not to start on this track already, but one of the things that I was like, if he did have done that, I was like, the only, like, plot bunny here is that he clearly was, like, in debt before he went to prison, and, like, paying for the lawyers probably didn't help that situation, so I was like, well, where's he getting the money from? And what my brain has decided the solution is that he was pulling bad telemarketer scams on Rick Arlen.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because I can totally see
crying.
him doing that.
I'm freaking out. Maddie, that's incredible.
Like,
Yeah, she
because
could
it would
just
give-
do a whole backstory for Dwayne Powers.
I need this in
where
my
he's
life.
been every year, like that post that updated Maddy Jensen's career.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh, what a brilliant
Oh,
post.
The one for Dwayne Powers.
Yes, in the
I just feel like
timeline.
you give him a chance to do bad accents that he can like pretend being like, yeah, like your credit card is not working. We need you to send. And also, Rick would be stupid enough to fall for him, and like he can create like interesting people every single time he calls, and like even ridiculous things. And like I could just see a back forth continuously happening. Also, like maybe some catfishing involved with like a fan that like wants to hang out with him one day.
Oh my goodness.
I just think it plays into both of like their characters so well.
It does. It does. That's amazing.
Anyway,
is
but I'm
truly
like,
amazing.
if he had set it up, I could also have seen him to be like, oh, Nancy once met this one, and like I found a descendant of said bird. I know what, that would be the perfect thing to bring here into my Nancy themed weird vacation shack location.
Oh my god. I mean, really though, what are the odds of that being a parrot descended from the exact same parrot?
Right, because they say that Lulu was brought back from the Amazon, and this is the Bahamas.
Exactly.
What gets me more is that Cuckoo seems to know who Nancy is, as if Cuckoo and Lulu meet up on the regular for family vacays.
Yes, I love that.
So what is George doing this whole game that she doesn't see Dwayne sneaking onto the porch, posting new threatening notes on the columns?
Oh my god.
Every time Nancy comes back, she's like, there's a new one waiting for her. And it's like, George, it's right there in front of the open door where you would have been looking.
You are completely right, and I never even thought about this. You're
like,
so
it's not
right.
even like nailed to the shed door.
Right.
George's site. It's like right there on the front porch.
Can you imagine though? That is so Dwayne Powers. Like that's the most absurdly bold thing. Like to literally just walk right in front of someone's line of sight.
It's his sneaky Owen Spader walk.
Exactly.
Yes. With the beard and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, oh hi, I'm Owen. I'm here to fix the radiator. Don't worry about this note here. I'm just gonna place it.
George, Alice, do you do
This is the bill.
too?
This is an invoice. Yes, I'll just leave it here.
Like, what's on the other side? Like, oh, don't worry about that. I don't know how'd that get there. Death threat? Weird.
So, when you're playing as George, like trying to get the coin back from the monkeys, you can take the golf cart to Sangra Beach and go talk to Johnny Roll as George.
Really?
And she's like, "Hey, where's my cousin? Why are you here?" Like, and just do these all accusations like you expect Nancy to be the one to do. And so then Johnny's just like, "I don't have time for you. I told you the truth. I'm just going to ignore you." And then he won't have any more dialogue options, but George can keep yelling at him like, hey, stop ignoring me, or yoo-hoo.
I love doing the yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo.
I had no idea you could even talk to him as George. Like, it never occurred to me.
And then Nancy up later, like, and then Johnny's like, hey, your friend's like such a jerk.
Oh, I love that.
And then she'll go over to George like, hey, you made him really angry, and if he is the one behind Bess's kidnapping, we don't want to, like, aggravate him into hurting Bess. So, like, just don't talk to him anymore.
That sounds familiar. I must have done this maybe when I first played the game. Wow, that's fascinating, though. That's really cool.
So, like, half of us have played it that way. I play it that way all the time.
I think for this
one... And now,
one,
if anyone didn't know that was an option, now they do.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think that also, that's another thing that because I was rushing to finish it, when I switched to George, I was just like, okay, get this done, do what I have to do, move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's cool. I didn't even know that was an option that you could do.
That is weird to me that George is upset than Nancy is. Like, I'm expecting Nancy, like, this is her best friend who's been kidnapped, and she is just so chill the whole game. And George is like, if that guy was behind anything, I'm gonna, like, give him the smackdown. And Nancy's like, whoa, be cool, George. I'm like, no, she deserves to be angry about this.
Yeah,
like, this is the right reaction.
How George is to fight everyone and everything on the island. Like, even when Nancy's like, hey, cool fact about sharks I just learned, and George is like, well, if they give you trouble, punch them in the face and pretend they're the kidnapper.
I know. It's so true. And Nancy was freaking the hell out about Maya in final scene, and she was not even nearly as close with her as she is with Bess. Like,
that's what I wanted to, like, kind of bring up too. Like, when you consider this against final scene, because you are there meeting the person who was kidnapped, and you are present just on the other side of the door for the kidnapping. and it's like so dramatic, and you hear this, you get the threatening phone call immediately afterward, and then the whole game energy is just up, and she's throwing accusations left and right, like no matter if they're warranted or not, like and she's just angry all the time. And we've never even met Maya as a character before or since the final scene.
Right.
And then you have Bess, who's been a phone character in almost every single game, and she's not upset at all, and isn't even like really enthusiastic about the one suspect she has to investigate.
Right.
Like, even if there was one moment where we could have lured Johnny away from his camp and then ripped the campsite apart for clues, like that would have been so satisfying.
Oh, for sure. That definitely should have happened. And yeah, I feel like Nancy's reaction to final scene is what the reaction should be. Because in Ransom the Seven Ships, she's like unprecedented. She has this unprecedented level of like chill. Like, it's okay, we'll get her back. Like, excuse
me. She's on vacation. She's like, I'm in the Bahamas.
I won the sweepstakes, okay?
I'm not gonna let Bess getting kidnapped get in the way of my vacation to the Bahamas.
It's like, this isn't Sandals, Jamaica, Nancy. Your friend's been kidnapped.
She's like, listen, at this point, every vacation happens, like, something dramatic happens anyway. I've learned to, like, enjoy the moment while I can.
Right?
But yeah, even if Dwayne was, as thorough as we expect him to be and not leave any evidence lying around, it just would have been more Nancy-ish behavior to be suspicious of Johnny instead of believing every word he said. And
exactly.
like, oh, okay, even though I found Bess's shoe, and everything, and
he's got a giant
and
net
you're total
trap.
strange, and you've set this booby trap around your camp. I'm just gonna believe you when you.
Yeah, it's so un-Nancy Drew-like.
And did we really need the double reveal of Johnny Roll being John Poole?
Yeah, I know, right?
Especially when you consider the kind of makeup choices Dwayne made for Johnny Roll.
Yeah, I agree. It's that level of extra, man. Dwayne.
It's definitely something he would do, but you're like also her, like, there are better options I could have gone with here.
Well, but also it is because I am 100% fully sold and convinced of the headcanon idea about it not actually being Dwayne.
I kind of am obsessed with that.
Oh, like, I think I remember you saying that, but just like talk about it.
Yeah, so it's a headcanon, and I posted it, I reblogged it recently, so I'll probably put a link to that post in the description on YouTube. But it was this headcanon that somebody put out there where Johnny Roll / whoever was not actually Dwayne Powers, because clearly it doesn't look anything like him. It doesn't sound anything like him. And Dwayne is a criminal mastermind. So the whole theory is that Dwayne hired like an actor or somebody who kind of vaguely resembled him to impersonate him, impersonating this other person, like basically to serve as his fall guy. So that Dwayne can just sit back and watch it all unfold. In fact, Dwayne is probably who was wrestling the bushes on the other side of the island and spying on everybody. And that's why John, he's like, there's somebody there, like there's people following me. They're bad people. But he's really just talking about Dwayne. And that's why he goes missing from the motorboat afterwards, because Dwayne like met up and tossed him overboard or whatever. Like he didn't need him anymore. Like, so he found the actor guy in the boat, grabbed the map, and tossed him overboard and was like, see you later.
Well, he is kind of young for a Dwayne to have spent years in prison.
I don't know, man.
That's true.
That's how I feel about it.
It's like they tried to keep the character the same age, like Nancy's the same age. Even though, like, I've spent years and years in prison. Like, wait, Nancy's still 18.
Gotta hop on that plastic surgery train so that he's ready for when his acting career surfaces.
I know, right?
But no, I do.
So I always just thought Dwayne met up with his cellmate who had worked at the monkey research place and had told him all and given it to him, and then they met up in a different boat, and Dwayne went off with the cellmate to find the treasure.
True.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the note of that, like I think that's such an interesting, like, and unique headcanon with all, like, and I definitely think it's so criminal mastermind. But so I've been thinking about this all week too, and this is why I've been comparing him and Jake Rogers, because I feel like that's more of a Jake Rogers move. Because despite, like, between the two of them, they are both super extra. But, like, Dwayne, I don't think is actually that smart, and he cares more about the attention for himself
True.
than, like, not getting caught. Whereas I could totally see Jake Rogers being somebody that, like, hires somebody to pretend and that he can, like, sneak in and is more worried about, like, not getting caught and being more clean. Whereas, like, Dwayne technically could have gotten off with it at the very end when, like, Nancy gives him the thing. But instead, he doesn't just take it and leave. He needs to monologue for a few minutes. To, like, true. Let her know how stupid she's been and how great of an actor he was.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really thought there'd be an opportunity, like, you know how when most of the culprits threaten you or try to trap you or kill you, option to escape or fight back. And Dwayne just says, like, I'd watch where you stand. And Nancy goes, oh no! And then lets herself be hoisted up again. I was like, wait, we can't just take a step back or do like a roll and pop up and punch him or anything?
Like, literally anything else. It's another non-Nancy moment.
And then it would have been like, you know, a search for where he was keeping Bess or trying to get him to talk or something.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
you just can't fight back.
I feel like her was really trying to set him up to, like, come back, but I wonder when they released the game if they, like, it didn't work out for them and they abandoned the idea, because I don't think a lot of people had played Stay Tuned for Danger when this game was released.
Right, and it was discontinued for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, I know when I played this game the first time, I was like, I have no idea who you are. Like, I have no idea who Dwayne Powers. It's like, yeah, the Thanos meme of, like, I don't even know who you people are.
Yeah.
It's going to recur again as, like, a where do you think is a good game to insert him from 21 to 32? It's like where would have been an opportunity for him to come back a third time?
Shattered Medallion.
Oh my gosh,
enough.
yes!
Fair enough.
Okay,
Another
plus,
remote location.
True.
Okay, plus to now kind of get in my head canon of what Dwayne has been up to, I'm convinced that so the guy that left Dwayne the book is someone who he claims was one of the researchers who was then retired and volunteered in a prison. I'm convinced it's Sunny June and that Dwayne just doesn't care enough about other people to, like, actually keep track of who that person was, because Sunny seems like the person who'd be like, yeah, I found this cool journal, but, like, it has nothing to do with aliens, so, like, I don't want it. Would you like it? Kind of a thing.
That's the best theory I've heard about this game. Yes.
I can see that.
So great.
Because I'm like, what random person who's like, yeah, I befriended a prisoner and, like, gave him, like, that's just chaotic energy that, like, I could see Sunny June pulling off. But then, like, also Dwayne believing that, like, this guy really befriended, like, cared about him as a person, but, like really just, like, a one-off job again for Sunny that briefly was like, yeah, I could do a stint at volunteering as a prison center, and then, like, forgot it in the pursuit of aliens.
That's so
never
true.
thought about it again.
That's so true.
I guess I could also see the Silent Spy, like, instead of Ewan being the bad guy, that Dwayne would have been behind the whole...
Why wasn't there an entry on Dwayne in Cathedral's, like, archives?
Yeah.
I feel like he should have had a profile. I mean, I guess he's not one of the good guys, but is Cathedral really the good guys? I mean...
Right.
But
also one little piece of frustration with the puzzles. I like the decoding puzzle, like with the substitution cipher, most of the time. But the first time I played it, one of the words is astrolabe or astrolabe, and an everyday word that you can guess in a decoding situation. never seen that word before this game.
Yeah,
Like,
now
that is a very difficult word to put in a decoder game.
I will say that at the age of 12, I had absolutely no idea what an astrolabe was until I actually played this game. And so, yeah, that was definitely one of those words that I didn't understand. And another one that I didn't understand is that the phrase El Toro mentions the phrase a fathom tall. And that was another
Oh,
one
yeah.
that I never heard of. And so I was just like, I mean, those are words, but I know that's not correct.
Yes.
I was like, I know that both fathom and tall are words, but that can't be the right answer. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It could be frustrating the first time when you're young and you don't know what these words like mean when you put them together.
I also feel that way about gigantum or gigantor, whatever.
Gargantuan?
Gargantuan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why of all the possible words? Because I knew it was supposed to be a word that meant big too, but like that one did not hook my brain at all.
Yeah, they
Was it that they were just trying to use every letter of the alphabet for every different page? It was like you have to.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I struggled a lot. Well, that one was when you were in the portion of it where you have like the specific letter boxes, which I struggled a lot more with that puzzle than I did with just the straightforward letter ones.
Oh, interesting. I think I was the opposite.
Oh, really? It's because there were fewer, and like it wasn't universal, so like you had to retranslate the letters on every page, and so there were fewer words, and so it was fewer context clues. Whereas before, I always would just find like where the word was, and then I could usually figure it out from there.
Yeah. I'm doing that with Tomb of the Lost Queen too. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, Maddy. Can you repeat that? I'm trying to figure out if I was actually the opposite or not. My brain blanked out.
Yeah, so there's like a portion of it, like the second half of the journal that you decode after you get the like circle thing. I guess that's the part of the astrolabe. Where instead of individual letters, it's like letter pairs or letter like triplets.
That one easier or harder for you?
That one was a lot harder for me.
Okay, because that one was easier for me than the overall. Yeah, so
that's the one I had to look up cheats for. I didn't have a problem translating the other one because there was enough context clues. But I think part of it was the spacing. I couldn't tell what was supposed to be one word versus multiple words, because it was like there were more letters. And so a lot of times, like I'd look at the spacing when I do the regular, and I'm like, oh, that's a large word. So usually, like a vowel would be like in this location, kind of a setup. But I couldn't do that when I was doing it in like pieces. I don't know. My brain just didn't like the chunk, and so I couldn't visualize things. Like I kept trying to guess and check, and like my brain would not pick up on anything.
Well, because see, what made the first portion so difficult for me was because unlike Tomb of the Lost Queen, the symbols don't represent the same letters on every page.
Yes.
And like that's why it was so freaking difficult for me, because I would finally get one page translated and then I'd flip to the next one, but you can't use the same translation key because it's
and that's
different
the same thing for the letter pieces too. Sorry.
No, the letter pieces are universal.
Are they? Because I didn't know that, because it didn't fill it in automatically for me, and so I didn't see that it was happening, that they were the same. So I think that probably is what messed me up.
Yeah, so the letter combinations that you get from the astrolabe are associated with the same symbol across all pages.
Well, that's on me then. That's why I didn't figure it out, because I was really like, I have no idea. There's only 2 words on this page. How am I supposed to figure out what goes here?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, like, that is pretty much what I did with the letter combinations. I kind of relied myself. I would like flip back to the last page and be like, wait, which one was that again?
Were any of you able to figure out without walkthroughs how to get El Toro's personal treasure?
Absolutely not. I sat there for like, oh my god, probably close to an hour. Oh my god, I don't know why. I don't even remember how you actually are supposed to do it anymore, but I remember it was like not at all how I would have read the list. We're talking about the first one, right? Like at the beginning?
Oh, no, I'm talking about at the end when you're locked in with the skeleton. There's a private stash. There's like a box behind another rock wall of El Toro's like personal loot, and it'll change like the dialogue for the ending of the game, like Nancy's letter home. optional.
Oh, yeah.
insert when
Is
you
that the
found
one that
personal
deals-
treasure.
Is that the one that deals with like all the symbols and stuff in the skeleton room?
Yeah, like how the journal has the portrait and the picture of the
Mhm.
bull, but like those don't come up until you're in the skeleton chamber,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
those are
yeah.
actual clues to the personal loot.
I know I solved it at some point in time.
Well, like, you're supposed to know to use the hourglass key again
Mm.
instead of the key that's literally in the skeleton's hand.
There's so many parts of this that are like, it feels very luck based, even though there are clues there. Like, it feels so random a lot of the time, especially in that last section.
Like, the only reason I even knew that there was a different treasure is because of the award checklist at the end. It's like, for finding El Toro's personal loot. I'm like, wait, what? So then you like, go back to your save game before the climax and like try to figure out what they're talking about, but I just never figured out how to do it without looking at a walkthrough. But yes,
no.
the directional ones too.
Yeah.
It's just
For
awful.
some reason, like that very first treasure hunt at Shark Cove with like the ×3 ×1 thing, I don't understand. Like, I sat there for an hour because, okay, here's the thing. It's like the item that you're standing next to will tell you how many spaces to move. I was like, okay, I'm next to 3 coconuts. Cool, so 3 spaces. So I go 1, 2, 3, and then the paper says ×1 for the amount of extra steps that you're supposed to take. So that to me should mean you should go 4 steps in that direction.
No, it's 3 × 1 is 3.
Right.
And see, that makes no sense to me. Because then I was even like, okay, so maybe like multiply it by itself. But
So you're doing 3 × 3?
right. Like, but I never in 1,000 million years would think to just literally be like 3 × 1. 3. Just whenever I see an X, like X number, this is probably my escape room experience speaking. X and then a number usually means that's the number of times that you do something. And it doesn't actually mean multiplication. So my brain just does not go there at all when I see an X.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, again, I will say this was the puzzle created by Dwayne, so I just feel like he was trying to be like, how extra can I
your
be?
theory about how this whole game is supposed to feel like a punishment because
I know.
It
really
the whole
does.
situation.
So good.
Because he really is like, I'm trying to get revenge, and that's like the one aspect he does have control over. He's like, how could I make walking through the desert and like, not desert, the beach, and like give her a shovel and just be like, you need to start digging, and also throws in some math for you. I like love also him going to the beach because again, I'm convinced he lived for a solid couple weeks to get in character and like was going out and being like, okay, what landmarkers can I use to put this together? Okay, yeah, 3 coconuts, that's gonna work. Gotta make sure they stay there.
So true.
Oh, this has 4 branches. Better snap one of those off.
Yeah. It's not gonna work. I'll blame the monkeys.
I love that.
I like that you can't surface too quickly with the jellyfish.
Me too.
Or you'll get the bend.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. I definitely like that.
And the octopus, I like playing with the octopus. If we didn't have to do the annoying sailing back and forth for more air, I would definitely visit the octopus more before luring him out permanently.
Same.
Yeah, I'll say I like all of the moments that you get to go underwater. I think every moment is really fun.
I agree.
And like finding all the things that you can find with the metal detector underwater.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is the concept of a sunken ship and like you get to explore it? Like, that is just so cool to me. And then Nancy's just like swimming through.
That makes me kind of wish that we could actually explore like the literal shipwreck. Like if the treasure chest had actually been like hidden or buried inside of the shipwreck itself instead of just kind of off to the side, you know?
And Nancy just leaves behind a huge chest of gold in the chamber. And she's like, oh, this is the treasure. It's a map.
I made
a
post
so
about
how
that.
am I going to get this chest out of here?
Yes, I live blogged Ransom and the Seven Ships like years and years and years and years ago, and I made that exact post because it has always annoyed the heck out of me. It's just like, okay, I get it. Yes, the map is a very important part of this treasure, but Nancy literally goes back and she's just like, "Hey, I found the treasure. It's a map." Like, yeah, and it's also gold coins and jewelry and a whole chest full of stuff. Like, it's not just the map.
This is like the second time Nancy's seen literal gold treasure and be like, meh, whatever.
I guess she's
Also,
just so used to it
did
at this
the
point.
pirates like put the oxygen tank there?
I thought about that too. It's like it's a good thing
But
it's
now
there.
we know
but-
how they made the puzzle. They had tanks of air even in the 1600s.
It's so true. Like, how is that there? I mean, again, Her Interactive could have just let there be another exit or something. I don't know.
Right, like this must be how the pirates got in all these years ago.
Yeah, like just let there be an
Something.
opening at the top of the cave or something that you have to climb out.
Like, and instead they've installed a beautiful wooden cabinet full of timed hourglasses on a mechanized bowl behind another mechanized rock face with all these little colors on them.
I love all of the mechanized objects in this.
They had to
Man,
find ways to pass the time.
they were ahead of their
It's like-
time, I'll tell you that.
Castaway hell, but like with pirates. Like, yes, these very serious conquistadors were forced to play with monkeys for the rest of their lives.
Oh,
Play
poor
with the
saps.
bats.
Oh, could you imagine just that board game over and over again?
Oh god.
How do you like the character designs for Bess and George? Because they look the least like I've ever seen. Like pre-level Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I agree with that.
borderline, like, I know this is gonna be saying a lot, borderline controversial, but I would rank them about at the same level as Hardy Boys and Creed.
Yeah.
Like,
They're
it is.
pretty
George-
bad.
George looks okay, other than her haircut.
Yeah.
I think
the same.
Yeah. It's just, Bess is the one that just like throws me. Like she gives off almost like fairy vibe energy with like her hair clip and the bright
Mhm.
green, and I just the whole vibe is very weird.
That's funny. I've always viewed her as having grandma energy.
Me too. Like the cut of that dress looks very old lady.
Right?
It does.
Right?
It always bothered me because she's, always so fashionably dressed, and this outfit is just so like dated.
Yeah, it looks like an old lady dress, and her friggin'
Mhm.
eyebrows are like
Oh my
neon yellow.
gosh.
Eyebrows, they were just struggling in this period of her interactive animation
Yeah.
career. Apparently,
guess
it's not
that's fair.
improved.
This was only a couple games before Daryl Gray in Remastered.
Oh god.
Well, yeah, because Jake Rogers in the new one said he was going to retire to Dread Isle.
Right. Because I want to say Remastered came out between Waverly and Trail of the Twister. Either that or
The
between
trailer
Trail of
at
the
the
Twister and
end
Water's Edge.
of Remastered was Waverly, right?
What was that?
The end of the end of Remastered, the trailer was for Waverly, right?
Was it?
I
'Cause
think
I-
it was.
Play these
I
week
have-
after week, runs together sometimes.
I know.
I didn't stick around for the trailer. I just realized that.
I thought this was between. I thought Remastered came between Ransom and Waverly.
I've always associated it with Trail of the Twister in my brain, so I thought
now
it
that
was.
you're saying that, I'm thinking the same thing. I was right around. I thought it was after Waverly, before Trail
Trail
of
of
the
the
Twister.
Twister, right? That's what I was.
Okay. Yeah, no,
thinking.
okay, so here I'm looking at it right now. Ransom, then Waverly, then Trail of the Twister, and then Remastered.
Oh,
Oh,
so
wow.
Remastered was between
Oh.
Trail of the Twister and Water's Edge. Interesting.
Interesting. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it's not even just that they spent so much on Shadow. They were also doing the Remastered too at the same time with
That's
that and,
fair. Because yeah, we talked
And
about
like
that
we
a little
said,
bit
they
in our
clearly
Trail of the
poured
Twister.
all their
one.
love and energy into Shadow at the Water's Edge.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yes. well, to go through my entirety of what I believe Dwayne, how we got to this
Yes, I'm so ready.
Okay. So I believe that he went to court pretty soon after the whole Nancy debacle thing happened. And like it was the worst nightmare for his poor attorney because he just got up on the witness stand and like wanted to monologue and like yes I did it, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So did he wronged me?
Yeah.
And like the whole jury, she was like, we don't need to have a jury present, like let's just plea it out. And he's like, no, listen, like the one thing I want is to be able to stand up and badmouth Rick Arlen in front of these people. And like it was probably like the worst nightmare of this poor like legal person's career. Maybe early on, and like when you're stuck with those like crappy cases or something. Nancy did not show up to testify, which really pissed him off, and is what probably more than anything sparked his anger at the whole situation. Then he went to prison, and I feel like he chilled out for a little bit because he got all of the anger at Rick Arlen out of his system for like the first couple of years. And somewhere in there, I'm convinced he joined an improv group that they had available for inmates who had good behavior. And I think, in my opinion, that's where Sunny June was working.
Yes.
Yes, I'm like, I could totally see him doing some kind of theater thing on the side that Dwayne was involved with.
Yes, that would
that's
literally
how
be perfect.
he found the information. Did we lose somebody? I feel like.
Yeah, okay, I'm back.
Oh, no, you're good. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, so then that was where he got the idea, and I'm also convinced that he was just 100% like, once he was like, you know what, this is totally gonna work, this is gonna be the ultimate, like, of ultimate plans. He refused to talk about the plan to anybody, and like instead went the entire other direction and was like, I can't leave any trace. I need to start talking about how I never want to visit a beach ever again once I get out of prison. Like the only thing I want to do is like live in the city.
Oh my god. That'll throw her off.
I know, right?
Yeah, like he'll be like, this will never get back to Nancy. I'm sure she's checking up on me. I'm going to New York to be an accountant or something.
Perfect.
I'm also kind of convinced he partly did work part-time just to really sell his accounting backstory for this.
Oh yeah.
It's not a great job, but it was a fun, and that's where he planned out most of his time to like set up the whole situation, and also orchestrated the Gibson's family vacay that he like somehow figured out. Maybe joined the family chat on Facebook and like figured out what it was.
Oh, I can see
Claimed
it.
to be like a long lost cousin. Anyway, that's mostly what it is. But I'm just like, I can just see him getting so into it and like planning out all of these little details and like getting so excited, printing out props to like decorate the whole situation with like Nancy's article clippings that like clearly are only there for aesthetic purposes. Like,
right.
And where was Cuckoo in all this? She could have tipped us off, you know?
I know, really.
Come on.
Well, we already know that Samantha Quick met up with Justin Beaumont.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the resort.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
Apparently there was a microsite advertising Dread Isle for the game.
Yep.
Didn't get in on that, but I'm just like reading about it now, and it has like testimonials of past characters who have supposedly visited. And
oh yeah.
It says, Tex Britton, the resort should get some horses. I kind of felt dumb driving in that dinky little golf cart.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Red Knot has apparently visited as one of the site
Oh,
testimonials.
This is peak Red Knot like vacation. If there was ever a place for Red Knot to vacay, it would be this location, other than the lack of birds. Like, I could see him going and being like, no people, that was a plus, 0 birds. 1 out of 5 stars.
Right.
Pro, no people. Con, no birds.
Maddy, was that like pretty much your whole Dwayne spiel?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I keep going on and on, but like again, part of it is again with him prepping all of his fake con scams that he's running on Rick Arlen. That's how he figured out how to set up his sweepstakes. Rick Arlen was his practice person to make like authentic looking sweepstakes that he claimed that he had won. And that's how he got the prep work to set it up with Bess. And yeah, pretty much then we went from there. I'm pretty sure he started emailing us some information about the stakes to make it look legit. It probably might have even gone on for like a year. Maybe he announced a fake winner the year before and was like, so sorry you didn't win. Better next time.
Right.
Got some Photoshop skills, showed him on the beach, made it look really authentic. And then when it was finally time, I'm again just camped out on this beach to like look like a beach bum. And I just also love the idea of him really writing out every single thing. He's like, listen, I'm not just gonna be like a Jamaican beach bum. I'm gonna be an Australian accountant who found out secrets, who then is hiding as a Jamaican beach bum, but he can't really sell the character. He only slightly sells the character because Nancy will figure out at least one level of deception. So I'll let her uncover that, but then I'll reveal. Go ahead.
No, I considered not confronting him about being John Poole just to see the rest of the game with him doing just the Jamaican accent.
I know I did that.
I wanted the Australian award. So.
Yeah.
I feel like the game is a more complete experience if you reveal him as John Poole or whatever.
I was trying to figure out if there were any anagrams for either of his name, but all I could find is that like you could make baloney. You could if you add an extra Y, you baloney, which I like. So it's funny.
Oh my goodness,
that's amazing.
And then I think Johnny Roll is non-hero, but there were no like clear giveaways this time.
He learned his lesson. With anagrams. And it's always kind of bugged me when Nancy's in the cave, trapped herself there, and she's like, "There's no air." It's like, you have the scuba gear right now. It's like, if there's a problem,
that's
you can
so
just
true.
have some bottled air.
That's so true. I never thought about that.
And
look,
that
that's
was
the worst.
So lame of George to like say, "Whoa, there's no air in here." Opens like as if you can perceive that.
Yeah.
It's like, there's only this percentage of oxygen in here.
I also really like to know how that jigsaw / slider puzzle actually works as a thing.
Right.
Like, some of those jigsaw pieces, part of one piece would go to one chunk of the slider puzzle, but then another part of the same piece would go to a different chunk of the slider puzzle.
Yep.
But it was all the same jigsaw piece, so how can you separate them? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that made sense, but...
No, I get it.
I know what you mean.
It's like you'd have to cut it up after you put it together as a puzzle.
Right,
to be
exactly.
a slider puzzle.
They're
George
just
is out
really
there with
strong
her hammer and chisel.
Hammer and chisel. Yeah.
And listen, with their arm strength, I think they could rip it apart.
I didn't see the point in Dove Isle being a new location, aside from just like this weird sundial thing. Like, because every other part of the puzzle locations, like even underwater, just felt really well designed. But Dove Isle was just kind of, we only get to see it once.
And
that
it's
always kind of bothered me too.
Very large island. But
has anyone been able to figure out how to count with the astrolabe telescope?
No.
I do not know how to do it. I just end up just going one notch at a time and looking through it each time.
Yep, same.
Me too.
It's like, I was really trying to figure it out this time.
I
Okay,
was
like
too.
West 40 and East 180.
I know,
what
man.
What the heck does that mean?
I don't know. I have no clue.
The up is down, left is right. I don't know.
I did the exact same thing.
It's also a struggle too, because I'm like, sometimes the doodles on the pages are just kind of there, and I'm like, so I didn't even know. I'm like, is it supposed to make sense, or is this just like telling us that there are degree values there? I don't know.
Right.
Because like, I'm fine with Hilda's version of the GPS puzzle in Danger on Deception Island, but for this one, between Johnny Roll's GPS and Danger Whirlpool Bermuda Triangle chart, and then the Journal Astrolabe Cardinal Directions thing, I just hate every mention of a GPS in this game.
Yeah.
Seriously, he has the Bermuda Triangle.
Right? Which is nowhere near everything else on the chart.
Or is it? Do.
What a game.
It really is.
It's a pretty, like, I just play it for the environment most of all. Like, I just want to go somewhere tropical for a Nancy Drew game, and you can just wander around the beaches, the same, but, like, not spend a lot of time on the beaches, the same relaxing vibe that you get from Kapu Cave, where you just waste time looking for shells.
Right?
But this one just has that fun in the sun location that I wish I could visit, but at the same time it's a nightmare treasure hunt with hardly any mystery and such a random twist that you could never predict.
Yeah. I think that this game actually could have succeeded just based on the initial plot. And actually, even once you get dropped into the game, even like the very beginning, there's still like it's still going kind of strong when you show up and it's like, oh my god, Bess is kidnapped. I'm trying to fix this boat. Here's a letter from the kidnappers. You can go, you know, they're trying to get us to find this treasure. And with the whole backstory of El Toro and the fleet, taking what was left of the crew and hiding a bunch of treasures or hiding a bunch of clues so that they can get to the treasure. It really could have been super, super cool, but I think their mistake was that they went more funsy with the theme rather than actually focusing on that pirate lore and upping the stakes. Because, hello, Bess is kidnapped. Like, where's the intensity?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes,
it's like they made it more
just
location-based than plot-based.
Yes, make a plug for my AU version of the game.
Yes!
Way more
Yes! Okay,
with the hotel owners being present and a monkey researcher at the Grove just would have fleshed out more suspects.
I freaked out when I saw that, Amy. Like, I was seriously like, this is what we deserved. Oh my gosh.
I can't stop thinking about it. It's such a like a good creepy vibe and like atmosphere that it adds to the whole thing. Like
seriously,
makes it so much more intense.
I am going to plug a link to your post.
Oh, thank you.
On this video. It is literally so good. That's what I wish this game had been. It would have been so good. But yeah, I was actually going to shout out your post this week anyway before you messaged me and let me know that you were interested in taking part. I was actually going to give it a shout out anyway, so.
Oh, thank you.
It's so good.
Yeah, I had done like a revision years ago, but this one I just kind of went all out with like, okay, who's hiding what, and let's make effects, and everyone has ulterior motives. It's always easier to go back and improve existing content than it is to generate original content.
Oh, for sure. It's kind of like what I want to do more than literally anything is to just take all of the same concepts and characters from Midnight in Salem and recreate that game from the ground up.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, if I could do any single game design project and have it succeed, that's what I would want to do. Just literally same plot, same characters, same like general location and concept, but actually make it a good game, you know?
Yeah, it's the game that we all were super excited for, like with an autumn vibe and American history lesson and all these main cast characters involved, and it was just executed so poorly.
Yep. But yeah, Maddy, Allison, did either of you have any final thoughts you wanted to share?
Just that overall, I feel like this game could have had so much more potential. Yeah. I think the historical subplot was really solid. The puzzles were goofy and not my jam.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that's that.
Yeah,
I agree with
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm a puzzle person. It's still, like, I struggled with a lot of them, and I feel like there's just so much, like, random little tidbits, and not to mention, like, the literal random stuff with the monkeys that...
Yeah.
It's a lot. But
It's definitely a cool atmosphere and vibe, and I love how intense George is about the whole situation, regardless of how Nancy's taken it.
At least somebody's concerned.
Honestly, Dwayne would be so irritated if Nancy just really didn't care. Like, thank God he got to kind of creep around and get some reaction from George, because Nancy really was just vibing, and he'd be like, "Oh, listen, like, I spent literal years on craft plot for you, and you're just like, vacation, play with monkeys, sharks."
True.
Oh, like someone had that post where it's like, don't forget we're watching everything you do. One false move and your friend gets it is one of the notes, and Nancy just responds, "Oh, I haven't forgotten," when she reads it. If they're watching your every move, all they're seeing is you playing games with the monkeys.
I like how she almost sounds like bothered by it. Like, I haven't forgotten.
Like she's annoyed, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's like, "Ugh, you're ruining my treasure hunt here."
God. I can't. I cannot. Well, anyway. Thanks, you guys, for joining and talking about this game this week.
Yeah.
It's been nice.
Thanks
It's
for
so fun
having
to
us.
talk with you guys again.
Yes, it was
Yes.
really fun. You always have a lot of interesting discussion to bring.
Well, thank you.
Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. So thanks again, Amy, for joining us. And of course to you guys as well, Allison and Maddie.
Yes.
It's always fun.
Yes, we will definitely be back next week to talk about Tomb of the Lost Queen.
Yep.
Thanks one more time.
We're always so mad.
We need a vacation, you know?
Outros are hard, okay? Outros are really hard.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I hope that all three of you have a great night. And
like Dwayne Powers, we'll be back.
Yeah.
right. Yes, thank you, Maddie. Excellent. All right. Good night, you guys. Have a good one.
night.
I'll talk to you all at some point later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.